Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline live in the BP TV studios in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7 and for watching us on Verizon 32 here and everywhere else. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I'm here with Chip Hayner, and we still have sad news. Smoking Jim Frazier went in for a triple bypass. He got a quadruple bypass. He's home resting comfortably. He got to take it easy. Remember, they split his chest open. He's a little innocent with that. Got a great smile, lost 47 pounds. But they did split his chest open to work on his heart and patch him up and get him ready to roll. So looking at maybe a few weeks. I did talk to him the other day, and he said he's feeling great, machine. So he calls me machine, so we understand that. Prayers to Smoking Jim Frazier. Get well soon. If you're watching the show, you know we're always praying for you, brother. Appreciate it. So enjoy the show. Chip and I will try to carry on with just us two. Somehow, some way, we're able to conversate. Yeah. So we will add to it again. A lot of great sports out there. Well, some bad stuff too, but you know we'll cover it for you. We've been doing this 5 years. Thanks to BP TV for putting our TV show out 5 nights a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's all 7 o'clock to 8, so appreciate that. I don't know if I'm getting a text from my man. Yeah, I just did. Smoking Jim Frazier just said thanks. So glad you're watching the show. We'll keep shouting out to you, Smoking Jim. I'm going to do some of my promotions. We have a sponsor for our Tuesday night show, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Even Chip had a slice or two, Smoking Jim. He was hungry tonight.
Oh, yeah.
He was running around. Before I go any further, get out the vote. You have until 8 o'clock. I got my vote in early. If you want to complain, vote, and then you can complain. If not, vote, and you don't have to complain. But I respect the people that vote. It was a slow turnout today. And get into the vote right now for your candidate. Almost forgot that, Chip.
Yeah, that's right.
Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Great pizza, 412-831-1900. Give them a call. Tell them Al Levine, the talking machine, said to give them a call. Then one of our 501c3s is the Joey Fabus Foundation, Joey Fabus Childhood Foundation, Childhood Cancer Foundation. Find them online, donate $1. They just had their night at the races. I heard it was a great packed house at the community center Saturday night. So check them out. They're always doing something. All the donations, you can write them off. It's a 501c3, and it goes to DIPG, the brain cancer that took Joey's life before he was 9 years old. Another thing is the Bethel Park Historical Schoolhouse Art and History Center. It has the trolley right in the front on South Park Road. Check it out. You can go check the site out and what they're doing. I'm on the Community Foundation trustee board, and we voted to get them some windows so they all look the same. They're collecting money for that and doing some construction there, and we're going to have a meeting towards the end of the month in the Bethel Park Historical Schoolhouse Art and History Center. All right, talked about Community Foundation. There's money there from $100 to $5,000. bpcf.org. Get an application there. Apply for your group in Bethel Park with kids or people that you're working with to make the community a better place. $100 to $5,000. Check it out. Only got a couple more things to go. All right, this one, Dave had some fun at my expense. I Want You for BPTV. Yeah, that's my smiling face, the talking machine. Wants you to come in. We got a couple people helping out. We got Angela from St. Louis, the Marillacs, coming in, an 8th grader. Smoking Jim and I met her about a month or so ago. She's back in the control room with Devin Shea, and we got Ethan there. You can come on and be on cameras or in the control room while we're doing shows. Check it out. I Want You for BPTV. My friend Angelo Magnone of Made Men Promotions has a bunch of fights at the Rivers Rumble, June 24th at the Rivers Casino. It's right next to the river. It's a great venue. Have about 10 fights. Great local fighters here. check it out. Go online, check out Made Men Promotions. Check out Angelo Magnone. He was a great guest on our On Location show a couple weeks ago. That's all I got, folks. We're going to go to What's on Your Mind. We got no Smoking Jim Frazier, but we got Chip Hayner jumping right in there with What's on His Mind. What do you got, Chip?
Thank you, Alan. And from my heart, Smoking Jim, we're praying for your quick return. Heal fast, my friend. You're missed, and we definitely can't wait to get you back in the seat here. But speaking of Jim, I also wanted to make note of the passing of a football coaching icon.
Ooh, legend.
And I found out more about this man from our dear co-host, Jim Frazier, than I did from anything else. Coach Pete Anamarino coached the Gateway Gators, and he also was a head football coach for the Pitcairn football team from 1954 till 1989. And he affected a lot of young men's lives, and he passed away, and there's not much fanfare is being made about it, which kind of makes me want to scratch my head, but I think it's somebody that's worth making note for. When I was conversing with Jim via text, and I'm going to paraphrase here, Jim said that that he learned more about. There was only one person he learned more about life from than Coach Anamarino, and that would have been his father. And that's how much of an impact he had on some people's lives. Jim said he watched the WPIAL championships with him last November at Heinz Field, and he said he still was. His mind was still very sharp. Unfortunately, the mind was willing, and the body not so much. So, sorry about his passing, but sitting here thinking about what's on my mind. I was just, I listen to talk radio more for the, I don't know.
Well, you look for information.
Information. But the information you get there isn't really real information.
Well, it's opinions.
It's opinions in it, and I like to find out what the pulse of the Pittsburgh sports crowd is. And it's so funny because when Pittsburgh sports teams do well, everybody's happy. And Alan has touched on this before in years past. Oh, yeah, the Steelers win. They're going to the Super Bowl. The Steelers lose. They fire the coach. They fire everybody else, Chip. The general manager. And, the same thing goes with the Pirates, except that when the Pirates were winning and being successful, all everybody did was criticize them. And now that they're not doing so well, the haters have kind of quieted up a little bit. And I think it's because of the reasons why they're not performing well. Starling Marte being popped for PED use, Young Ho Gong because he can't keep his lips off a bottle. Now you got Gregory Polanco's hurt, and the list just goes on and on.
Sure.
Jamison Tyon, somebody that they counted on, testicular cancer, no time frame on when he's coming back. So then that leads me to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And, we as Pittsburgh sports fans are so very fortunate and so very spoiled. If you think about it, over the last, 10 years, there's only been a handful of seasons, and even a very small handful at that, where a Pittsburgh team wasn't in contention for something, whether it's a division crown, a wild card spot, or,
Good point. We are spoiled. We're spoiled as fans.
Now, last Tuesday night, we sat here, and after one of the most awful performances that we have seen the Penguins put out, wondering, okay, was their run over? What?
Hold it. I've still predicted back-to-back. I didn't jump off the bandwagon yet.
So as poorly as they performed on Monday night, they came out on Wednesday night and performed better than anybody could have anticipated. Marc-Andre Fleury shut out the Washington Capitals in Game 7 in Washington. Unbelievable what they did. And what that shows me is the resiliency of Mike Sullivan's coaching staff. If you could see the way that team performed after their performance Monday night, they objectively sat down and watched the tapes and found out this is what we have to do if we want to win this game. And they practiced on Tuesday when the Capitals took the day off. They had another practice again on Wednesday morning, and then they came out and slammed the door shut on the Capitals. I got to tip my hat to them. Now you get into the next series against the Ottawa Senators, And now you've got a team that is very defensively minded, not a high-scoring team. They're a team that has the 1-3-1 trap, which was made famous by the New Jersey Devils in the 90s, which they tried to govern out of the game of hockey because it's very boring hockey to watch.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And the Penguins, took the best punches Ottawa had, came up a little short in overtime Saturday night. So they put a game plan together yesterday. And once again, like I was telling somebody last night, Mike Sullivan has a way of looking at the tape from the previous game and making the necessary changes so that they can have a chance to win. And the Penguins definitely outplayed Ottawa last night. Low-scoring defensive game, but most of the game was played in Ottawa's zone. And Marc-Andre Fleury literally could have been in a lounge chair sitting down at his end of the ice for as little activity as he saw, and he pitched another shutout. So now we go back up to Ottawa. Series tied up 1-1.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to game 3 on Wednesday. And I have a feeling now that the Penguins have figured out the game that Ottawa's going to play. I like Pittsburgh in 5.
Whoa.
So that's what's on my mind this week.
Thanks, Chip. I appreciate it. I can't go too far from that since people are talking Penguins wherever I go, and they're asking what I thought on it. And I said last year, after the Cup, I like Sullivan's coaching, the way he mixed young players, older players, and we got rid of that power outage that we had. We started scoring goals, and we did it throughout the season this year, as the number one team scoring goals. So, I mean, that's nice when your stars are scoring, but we're also getting help from the younger guys. We got speed. We got a lot of combinations. All the Fleury haters, I don't hear them.
Our best 2 defensemen are not even playing. Trevor Daley,
I know,
and Chris Letang, and
Daley's been skating, but he's not yet ready.
So out of the last 3 games, they pitched 2 shutouts.
That's what I wanted to mention. Look at the shutout they just performed against Ottawa. The game was a little bit boring. It's tough watching that style of hockey, but they can play whatever game is presented to them, and that's the nice thing about this team. They're resilient. The coaches are on top of it. Tocchet, Sullivan, they know what they're doing. Look at how they're splitting the time between the defenders.
And I do know we'll have our Penguins segment later. But the players buy in to the coach's system. And, you can't get a system to work if the players aren't all in. And every single one of those players sacrifices personal statistics for the good of the team. Yeah. And that's the key to their success. That means a lot.
Look at Kessel on the bench, talking to himself, animated, upset with Malkin. Sullivan talked to Malkin to tell him not to worry about this. After the game, they're all good. Kessel went out, sniped one in, won the game. That's the only goal of the game.
Yeah, all you got to do is score one more than your opponent.
I don't care how upset he was on the bench, what he was hitting, what he was saying. He went out and did it. So it was 7 minutes to go, so you can't go wrong with that. It's fun watching the hockey, and the Pirates have a 162-game season. It's fun watching them win a couple games here and there, and you wonder what's going to happen with them, and we shall see. It's a long season, so don't give up on the Buccos yet. They've had a lot of adversity. And
top of the first, Washington's up 1-0.
Ah, jeez. That's it for what's on my mind. Go Buccos, go Pens.
Good evening, everybody. And tonight we've got baseball trivia, and I think I've got some interesting tidbits.
Can't wait.
Go figure. I look
I'm
back.
Surprised.
I look back at May the 15th as a day of great significance for me because I think one of the feats that was accomplished in baseball that will never be broken nor duplicated began on May the 15th, probably in the greatest season in baseball history of 1941. Why do I call 1941 the greatest season in baseball history? You think about it, that was the last time any player batted .400 for the season. Ted Williams batted .400 for that season, and Joe DiMaggio started his 56-game hitting streak, May the 15th, 1941. Can you just picture that? 56-game consecutive hitting streak. Never will be matched. In this day and age of baseball, you're never going to see a batter perform like that. The way I watch baseball now, and you see players striking out, and it doesn't matter. I mean, there were guys that struck out a total of like 4, maybe 5 times in a season. Now we've got guys that strike out 4 to 5 times in a game, and they get paid $10, $15 million. You tell me how that makes any sense. So May the 15th, 1941, Joe DiMaggio started his streak very inauspiciously. He went 1 for 4 with 1 RBI against Chicago's Eddie Smith. I will update you periodically on different things that happened during the streak between now and when the streak ended. May the 15th, 1918, Washington's Walter Johnson, they called him the Big Train, pitched a 1-0 18-inning victory over Lefty Williams of the Chicago White Sox, who also went the distance.
Wow.
Now, just to kind of give you some perspective, that was one game, 18 innings. Both pitchers pitched the entire game. You're lucky if you see a starting pitcher get 18 innings in 3 to 4 starts, let alone one game. Just thought that was worth mentioning. Also, another thing that's significant about May 15th, 1952, Detroit's Virgil Trucks pitched his first of 2 no-hitters for the season, beating the Washington Senators 1-0. Vic Wertz's 2-out homer in the 9th off of Bob Porterfield won the game for Detroit. 1973, May the 15th, Nolan Ryan of the California Angels pitched the first of a record 7 no-hitters. And the person's record that he broke, we'll get to that soon enough. I highlighted this one here because I do remember watching this game back in 1981, and it was back in the when there was still Hollywood Home Theater, and HBO was not in existence yet, and there used to be something that they referred to as the superstations. The superstations were WTBS, WGN, WUAB in Cleveland, and they had reruns and various programming. Well, that one night I happened to be watching the Cleveland Indians, and a gentleman named Len Barker of the Cleveland Indians pitched the first perfect game in 13 years as the Indians beat the Blue Jays 3-0 at Municipal Stadium in Cleveland. And I remember how much of a big deal that was because, I was still playing baseball at that time. But, I did remember, I was telling my wife before I came up here that I remember watching that game, and I was like, I'm just going to have to give this a little shout out.
Yeah, why not?
Next up, here, what's this? May the 12th, 1955. Somebody who probably has no other mention in any baseball history record anywhere. Sam Toothpick Jones of the Cubs.
Wow.
Got a no-hitter the hard way, okay? In the 9th inning against Pittsburgh, he walked the bases full, then struck out the next 3 batters for a 4-0 victory.
Wow.
Sounds like a Pirates team, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But I felt that was worth mentioning. Also going back, May was a pretty good month for baseball. May the 10th, 1934, Lou Gehrig of the Yankees played 5 innings before removing himself from the game because of illness. By that time, he had 2 homers, 2 doubles, and 7 RBIs. Not a bad day's work for half a game.
Being sick.
And May the 10th, 1967. Everybody knows of the reverence I have for Hammerin' Hank Aaron. In my mind's eye, and this is just my humble opinion, the home run king of baseball. And May the 10th, 1967, Braves outfielder Hank Aaron hit an inside-the-park home run.
Wow.
Okay, he hit 755 home runs. What's the big deal? This is the only home run that he hit in his entire career that did not clear the fence.
Get out.
754 left the park.
Wow.
1 did not. So didn't know that about Hammer and Hank.
I didn't either.
And that just makes his legend even greater in my mind's eye.
Nice.
Now, we're going back to way, way back because they named it. This guy was such a good pitcher. He had 512 wins over his career. That they named an award for the best pitcher in the American League and the National League. 1904, Cy Young's 23-inning no-hit streak ended. The streak included 2 innings on April the 25th, 6 on April the 30th, a perfect game against the Philadelphia A's on May the 5th, and 6 innings on May the 11th, 1904.
What a streak.
What a streak. Why do you think they named the award after old Cy?
Yeah.
And mentioned him before, Walter Johnson, the big train. The Senators pitched 12 scoreless innings in a duel with Jack Quinn of the New York Yankees at the Polo Grounds. The big train allowed only 2 hits, retired 28 batters in a row. Future football star George Halas, batting leadoff for the Yankees, went 0 for 5, striking out twice.
Wow.
So there's my little football reference for you, Jim. May 11th, 1963, Sandy Koufax pitched the second of his 4th career no-hitters to help Los Angeles beat San Francisco. Now, Sandy Koufax is arguably one of the greatest left-handers of all time, and depending on who you talk to, they say he is. Unfortunately, tendonitis in his arm
retire early.
Forced him to. The reason I brought that up, and Nolan Ryan in the same breath, because Nolan Ryan ended his career with 7 no-hitters. The person whose record he broke with his 5th was Sandy Koufax.
Wow. Nice tie in there. You teased us.
See that? And 1971. You know, this is another one that I got from my dear friend Jim Frazier, because Jim and I have differing points of view about various things, one of them being the designated hitter. Okay?
Can't wait for this.
So, the Cleveland pitcher, Steve Dunning, became the last American League pitcher to hit a grand slam before the inception of the designated hitter in 1973.
Wow.
Pitchers can get it done, Jim.
Next, we need to talk about first baseman.
Yeah, well, we need to find one here in Pittsburgh.
Understood.
But other than that, you know, any of the other stuff I have, I don't think really is as much significance as the items I brought to your attention. So there you go, a little interesting baseball trivia for
Very
month of May.
interesting.
And there will be more to come.
A great graphic that Dave Cable come up. Thanks, Devin Shea and Angela in the control room. Appreciate you posting that. Right now we're down to Hollywood Lanes as our on location. I'm looking for another location or two. We were just at Campidi's Pizza last week, but we'll be back at Hollywood Lanes the first Monday of every month. We've got a good show planned there for you. Come on out. Come out to this venue that does bowling. It has all kind of great things there, and just a nice place. Owner Jeffrey Park, you know, does a heck of a job getting people in there. They even run concerts and bands in there through it. So we appreciate being on stage there and doing our shows. Hopefully Smokin' Jim will be back by June. I don't know, Smokin' Jim, when you coming back? Give me a texter. Well, that's what I have for you tonight. Thanks for watching the show. And Chief, go get a dessert or something. We're going to continue on with our show. Thanks for not changing that dial. We're still here on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park, and Verizon 32, Bethel Park, and everywhere in the area. I forgot to mention our likes on Facebook. We're at 6,420. So thank you for watching and liking our shows. We appreciate that. You can check our Facebook page out. I post up all the current Pirate games, hockey games, other type of trivia that comes up. Even though Chip's a trivia man, I put some trivia up there too for you, and different things that have happened in sports and history. So check out the page there. Maybe you'll find something you like there. We got some Penguins to talk about. I'm excited because I predicted the back-to-back, but they look serious. In spite of all the injuries, 2 more guys are hurt. They're stepping up, and they're playing good hockey.
Well, one thing it seems to be, and one of the things that they have taken great steps to try to make the game safer for the players, we've heard this, but pro football as well, is that, the hits to the head, guys leaving their feet, and there was a couple of hits last night that Ottawa put out on Penguins players. Questionable at best, and one clearly they hit him in the head. They hit him in the head, and they said that that the head cannot be the target of the hit, and if you listen to the NHL's explanation of what they consider to be something that is penalty worthy or suspension worthy, the NHL, the reason why it doesn't have the mass appeal that football, basketball, Major League Baseball has, is they're inconsistent with the way they officiate, and they let things happen on the ice and don't do anything about it. And as long as they have that attitude in there, the game's going to suffer. I mean, people don't like to see that stuff. We're finding out that even though football is a violent game, people are enjoying it just as much right now as they did when they were taking people's heads off. So, the world of sports is changing, and, the NHL has to get some of the dinosaurs out of the front office and have, people in there. I look at hits, and I watch guys get clocked, and then, and it's like, okay, so where are the concussion spotters? And what are they watching, and what is the criteria that they need to warrant a player being checked out for the concussion protocol?
How can you get hit in the middle of the ice like we had last night and say there's no penalty or anything there?
Right.
That's what's shocking to me. If you truly are worried about the concussions and the brain health and whatever else.
And
it's shocking.
It used to be that there would be one referee on the ice in a hockey game. Now they've got 2 referees. So they've got 2 sets of eyes, and they're missing more than they missed when there was 1 set of eyes out there watching. Obviously I'm going to root for the Penguins, till the day I die. I'm a Pittsburgh sports fan, true and true. Sometimes maybe I'm a bit too much of a homer. But, that's...
well, this is our hometown. We bleed black and gold. We enjoy the victories. They've got to make things more, black and white. There's too many shades of gray, and I think it was getting a little chippy there. Guys were taking shots.
Well, here's what: Columbus Blue Jackets, big physical team. They tried to beat up the Penguins. Penguins skated around them.
They had 100 more hits than us.
Right. The Washington Capitals. Well, when did the Capitals start turning that series around? The minute they knocked Sidney Crosby silly. Okay, now you can't tell me. Even though people will say, you can't tell me that that was not done deliberately, that there was not specific intent to, hey, I need somebody to take Crosby out of the game.
Let's just go to Ovechkin hitting him so hard in the back of the head, too, knocking him off of balance.
And
Niskanen, if he truly, that wasn't a hockey move, he didn't have to go take the stick with both hands to the head.
And the thing is, these players, you listen to these guys that defend them. No, they're all former players. Most of them were goons, okay? So you don't think that they're going to argue it. And here's the next thing about hockey. And I know hockey purists are probably going to hate me for saying this, and I don't care. But
we appreciate you, fans.
You want to be concerned about players' health and in concussion protocols and head injury safety. Why do you allow people to punch each other in the head repeatedly during the game? Any other sport, if you throw a fist, you're ejected from the game, period, end of sentence, over. I know, most people, their attraction to hockey was because of hockey fights, and they sell hundreds of millions of dollars worth of videos of the greatest hockey fights. But the game has to evolve, as all the rest of the sports are.
Right.
And I think the hockey's got to change if you want to keep mass appeal. I mean, the only way that hockey could potentially grow is to get more national coverage, and they're not going to get it if they result to the thuggery that we saw last night. But that being said, it doesn't matter what kind of game whomever is playing against the Penguins. If they want to play a defensive trap game, the Penguins are going to play that game.
Right.
If they want to play a physical game, the Penguins are going to skate around them. They are able to adapt their game to whatever the team's weaknesses are that night. And you got to tell you this.
Plus, they're overcoming the injuries that they have accumulated. They're leading the league in injuries.
Well, and you hear that out of Mike Tomlin all the time. Next man up. And I think
they practice. And
I think the Penguins don't preach it; they practice it, because
very much so.
It doesn't. They've got a roster 25, 30 guys. Any one of them, any combination of them, boom. They feel that they're strong enough to win.
Yeah. Just the loss of Letang is huge. That they've made up for it.
And having
Trevor
two
Daley.
shutouts,
Yeah.
2 shutouts in 3 games with your best defenseman out until next year. Trevor Daley, who was the next best defenseman, and he's been injured. And
lower body injury.
And the Penguins just don't seem to miss a beat. Now, I will say, in Game 1, Ollie Matto did look pretty bad, letting that kid skate right around him for the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
But, okay, that's the games that we're playing now against Ottawa, that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to somebody losing concentration for a tenth of a second. And
it sure seems that way.
That quickly. Look at Kessel's goal last night. That was as tight a game as I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And, all it took was just one blink of an eye, and boom, the puck was behind the goaltender.
Yeah, 7 minutes to go, and he popped it.
And that was it. Fortunately, we came out on top in that one. So,
can't wait to see what they do in Ottawa.
I think we're going to basically see more of the same. I think Ottawa has shown its hand, and Ottawa definitely deserves to be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
There is no question. They're not there by, you win 2 rounds in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you deserve to be where you're at. So,
it's tough the way they have these playoffs. They changed it. The number 1 and number 2 team played. Us and Washington played the last series, which you think it should have waited till this series or even the finals.
See, because they have the 4 divisions. So they have one from each division in the Eastern Conference Finals. What used to be was they would rank them 1 through 8. 1 would play 8. 7 would play 2, and so on and so forth.
I would definitely like to see it keep away from the 1-2.
Well, I look at it this way: it doesn't matter really. You got to beat them all anyhow. Whether you beat them in the first round, second round, third round, it doesn't matter. You still got to beat them.
I predict we beat them.
Yeah. By the way, I got a little bit of chuckle out of this, because last Wednesday night there was a Game 7 in Washington, and the Penguins beat the Capitals. And last night there was a Game 7 in Washington, and the Celtics beat the Wizards. So if you're a if you're in a Washington sports fan, that's about as good as it gets for you guys. So what's going to happen next year? The Redskins losing the playoffs? I don't think so.
Well, we shall see. You brought up the Celtics. They're going to play the Cavs. I don't know if they can even beat the Cavs 1 game.
No, so far, the Cavs, and we're going to talk about basketball, the Cavs are 8-0 this playoff season. Now, Golden State swept through Utah last, I believe.
Yeah.
And now Golden State's playing San Antonio, and they came back from a 26-point deficit on Sunday and beat them 113-112. So San Antonio's big gun.
I think everybody's waiting to see Golden State and the Cavs.
Yeah, well, it's the rubber match now. Yeah. It's the rubber match.
I know. I can't wait for it either.
And Golden State, they reloaded after losing last year. Brought in Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's played well.
That may be worth paying some attention to. Any team that has, and I've never been a big fan of LeBron James, but you got to give the guy his props. He is the best player in the NBA right now. May not win the MVP award this year, but
They can't give it to him every year.
I mean, look what he did with Cleveland before he went to Miami. They were contenders. He left. They were bottom feeders. Miami became perennial finals visitors. He left. Now Miami's bottom feeders again. And now look what happened to the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think, even though I don't think he'll ever compare to Michael Jordan.
Oh, no.
And I don't think that, comparing players from different eras, I think, is an exercise in futility, to be honest with you. Everybody wants to say he's the greatest ever. He's the great. You know what? You're a good player in the environment in which you exist today, okay? Maybe you're the best in your environment now. But how do you judge different eras? Because, the games were played differently.
There's so many variables.
The games were played differently. And, so, you just, give the old-timers their due. They earned the respect, and the young guys, their legacy will be determined. You can't say right now, in the midst of somebody's career, that they're going to be the greatest ever, because his career could end tomorrow.
You don't know, but I'm more of a traditionalist. What's happened in the past is that generation, let them go. They had their moment. Mm-hmm. Now people are competing to beat their records. So that's why you got the natural competition that people want to judge this one and the next one, because the records are out there.
Yeah, they are.
And that's what happens. We've all played sports, whatever the next record is, that's what we're chasing. Mm-hmm. And people get crazy with it. Just like with boxing, we don't even know who the heavyweights are. Before, you used to see the heavyweights all the time.
Well, the problem, one of the things that I've always felt has hurt boxing more than anything, is there's just too many weight divisions. There's too many champions. It seems like everybody and their grandmother has a belt.
There's so many A, B, C, D,
X,
there's
more. There's more boxing councils than there are letters in the alphabet. Okay, and so it's hard to I say
support your local boxers here. Boxing is coming back in Pittsburgh.
Hey,
there's a lot of great young boxers.
We should come up with a Pittsburgh Sportsline World Championship belt. We could market it.
We're looking at it.
We've got plenty of great local fighters. I know a couple of them that would step right up and want to put that strap on.
Definitely,
there's just too much. It used to be there was the WBA, WBC. And
it goes on and on.
And now it goes on and on and on and on. And everybody that's fighting right now has some belt or another. And I think that takes away the legitimacy of them.
Being in boxing, like Smoking Jim and I announce it, shout out to you. Thanks, Smoking Jim, for bringing me on board. They're fighting one fight, and they get a belt.
Yeah.
So, how do you compete with that publicity?
It's kind of,
somebody's out here, they just turned pro, and now I see him with a belt. It's like, wait, who are you even fighting?
No, without trying to disrespect the fighters, because I know that the fighters, they train sick amount of hours, and they make tremendous sacrifices. And believe me, guys, I have nothing but the most respect.
And girls.
I have nothing but the utmost respect for all of you and what you do. But I kind of feel like the belts that they give out to everybody are kind of like participation trophies, And I think, you really, if you say to somebody, there used to be a time where you could say, who's heavyweight champion of the world? Muhammad Ali, or it was Joe Frazier.
Well, there were only 8 belts in the whole
who was
world,
the middleweight
different weight classes.
Yeah. There was Ray Leonard. There was Thomas Hearns. There was Marvin Hagler. And now, okay, who's the heavyweight champ of the world? I have no idea.
Yeah.
If he walked in this room right now and didn't tell me that he was heavyweight champ, I probably wouldn't know that.
Right.
Well,
even look at like a heavyweight like Evander Holyfield. Was a cruiserweight, went to heavyweights, won his heavyweights, got a little biting incident, lost an ear, and you don't have that. There was so much competition back then.
No,
that everybody was in the heavyweights.
Well, now what you do is we celebrate fighters that duck anybody that's worthy of even giving them a good fight or potentially something that they could lose from. You can handpick your opponents. You don't have to fight the number one contender. Okay, that used to be mandatory.
Yeah.
The champ used to have to fight the number one contender. That's what every one of his next fights.
You got MMA, you got Conor McGregor, you got Mayweather. Yeah. People want to see that.
Well, Mayweather. How do you have any respect for somebody who the only thing he doesn't run from is a woman? and he's going to stand there and smack one of them around. But
Oh,
I know that was a low blow.
Yeah,
that was a low blow.
We digress there.
Yeah.
But people want to see that Conor McGregor and Mayweather fight. So
and I wouldn't.
Of dollars.
And here's the thing about that. Then people are going to pay $75 or $80 to watch it on pay-per-view, and I'll wake up the next morning and watch 30 seconds of it on
everything
on
about
Facebook, and I'll see everything that I needed to see without spending a dime.
Well,
in the day of Twitter and Facebook, you don't.
Social media is king.
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, we talked enough about that. How about some Bucko talk?
How about some Bucko talk? The Pirates. Well, Pirates are struggling, and they got a couple of guys back. They got
Frazier's back. Smoking Jim Frazier.
Smoking Jim, your namesake. He's back playing. He's back on the major league roster. David Freese.
His first at bat, he got a hit. I heard him when they brought him back the other day.
By the way, the last time I checked, the Pirates and the Nationals were tied at 1. We'll give another little check on the score of the game there. But, I'll be down at the ballpark tomorrow night. Tonight, Steven Strasburg's pitching. The Pirates are getting great pitching out of a very young, inexperienced staff. Now, you look at Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's got a 1-4 record, and you'd say, "Oh my God, he's pitching horribly."
Right.
But in the last 4 or 5 games he's pitched, I don't believe he's given up more than 1 or 2 runs.
No.
And what's ended up happening is our lack of offense is inhibiting his ability.
There's no run support for him at this time.
None whatsoever. And the Pirates are in a bad way. They're in a bad way because of a couple of players, but man, they got hit with the injury bug this year.
Yeah.
Here's what's going to end up happening. I predicted the Pirates are going to win 90 games this year, and I did that thinking that Gong was going to play,
right,
that Marte was going to play,
too, yeah.
and that the outfield was going to find itself. The outfield's in complete disarray. John Jaso has no business playing right field. But for lack of better options, now Gregory Polanco went down Sunday with a pulled hamstring, and
right.
we were watching the game, and he grounded out, and I watched as he was coming out of the batter's box and running down to first base, and then he started hoppling, and then the camera switched. I said, "Oh, that's not a good thing at all."
Yeah.
So
we don't need injuries on top of what we already
McCutchen
have.
is getting closer and closer to the Mendoza line. And people may say,
that's not good.
What is the Mendoza line? There was a very weak hitting shortstop that wore a Pirates uniform way back when, in the 70s, and his name was Mario Mendoza. And I don't believe that he ever batted much over 200 in his entire
career. Low 200s at best.
So jokingly, people referred to the Mendoza line as when you get close to batting 200. Now, McCutchen was doing extremely poorly for the month of May, even though the last game that we won on Sunday against Arizona led the game off with a home run.
Yeah.
We need the Andrew McCutchen of 2013 to
he showed up a few times.
Start performing. He is playing better defense, but we need the offensive bat from him. He had been a career 300 hitter. Last year I thought was an aberration. This year,
similar.
When is he going to catch fire? Because he's better than that. The unfortunate part is that more often than not this year we've put a AAA lineup on a major league team, and we just don't have the horses. And we've got a young outfielder at Indianapolis, Austin Meadows, whom I believe we will be seeing in our outfield before very long, because I'm going to be interesting to see what the Pirates do with Starling Marte when he gets back. I mean, can you imagine how
80 games
disappointed the Pirates are? Here they locked the guy up, they paid him a lot of money, showed some faith in him. Hey, you know what? They took the face of the franchise, Andrew McCutchen, out of center field so that Starling Marte could play, because they felt that he was going to be a better option because he's a 2-time Gold Glove left fielder.
Right.
And, when they were all three playing together, they were disjointed. The right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing.
Terrible.
Polanco looked completely lost in left field.
Yeah.
And McCutchen looked like he didn't want to be in right field, which I think is extremely unprofessional. You know what? You're a ball player. The manager makes the decisions where players play and when they play.
Right.
It's up to the player to just do his best. And, the attitudes, you can lose them. So, we...
Smoking Jim texted me, Adam Frazier is his favorite player.
That's right. It's James. That's Jim Frazier's namesake. That's what we'll refer to him as moving forward. So when we say, namesake.
Thanks, Smoking Jim, for your insights.
For his namesake, he's watching. And the fact that Jim is watching us and not the Pirates right now, thanks, Jim.
Well, to help clarify that, Smoking Jim Frazier is an NFL scout, Steelers scout first.
Yep.
All the rest of that.
Yeah, but they had rookie camp last weekend, and what's going on with the Steelers right now? I think we're probably going to have mini camp coming up here probably before the end of the month.
Hey, how about Big Ben was at the Penguin game?
Yeah, good for Ben.
Looked like he had a sour puss on his face, though. He just looked off his game a little when they took the photos.
He was out at the air show, I think, on Saturday, and he took a plane ride in one of the Thunderbirds planes.
Did he? Wow.
And I'm going to tell you something. That would be excitement like nobody. Because when you're in a jet fighter that can go,
Mach 5,
twice the speed of sound, I want to tell you something. And you fly. I mean, the stunts they do. It's something I would definitely enjoy doing, and make sure you got your...
maybe next year you got to get out there.
You got to bring a barf bag with you because when you all that spinning and stuff, it's real easy to lose your cookies up there. So, I'm a little envious. That's something that, as a child I always wanted to be a fighter pilot.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah. You have fantasies about things, and that didn't work out. That and a major league ball player, those two things didn't quite pan out for me. But hey, I got no regrets.
You're here on Pittsburgh Sportsline talking about it.
There you go.
On TV to you folks out there.
There you go. We're out here just sharing our thoughts. So there's not much going on with the Steelers right now. Okay, we're in between rookie orientation, and now we're going to have mini camp coming up soon, or what do they call this? OTAs. Yeah. Organized team activities. So, it's what does Mike Coleman call it? Football in shorts.
Well, you get to see these players that were in the draft that got drafted and they're signed a contract, so that helps a little bit there. I want to see that long snapper.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm waiting.
I know that Jim just laughed. He said, the draft was going okay until they picked a long snapper. Would they get him in the 6th round or something like that? Probably
nobody saw him on the field yet.
He was probably the number 1 rated long snapper in the draft. I would have to check with Jim Frazier to find out if that's true, but I don't think there were a whole lot more taken before him.
Probably not. Less said, the better. But we're optimistic for this upcoming season.
Well, there are a lot of reasons to be optimistic, but last year we were optimistic as well. And even though we ended up in the AFC title game, I thought the offense was a bit of a disappointment last year. Now we've got all these tools and weapons.
They got to stay healthy. We need help.
We drafted a wide receiver who's supposed to be something. Martavis Bryant. What kind of Martavis Bryant are we going to get? Sure. And can you trust him? Because we know that he is one failed test away from banishment. Now, speak of banishment, Josh Gordon, wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns. He got suspended multiple times for drug and alcohol offenses. Yeah. Now he reapplied for he applied for reinstatement. They denied him. They denied him. You know what? We've given you one too many chances. I applaud the NFL for taking a stand, because how are you going to get people to stop doing these kind of things and abusing the system? Hey, let them know that, 3 strikes, you're out, dude. Bye.
Since we're talking football, look at Colin Kaepernick. Is he blacklisted because of his anti-national anthem stance? And now Seattle's talking about grabbing him.
Seattle's talking about grabbing him, but you know what? Whatever is going on with Colin Kaepernick, he did this to himself. He got nobody else to blame. You could say, it's racism or whatever you wanted to. It's not. It's just his own foolishness. And personally, I think because his skill set was deteriorating, that the only way he was going to make himself relevant was to do something. Something to get people talking to him.
He's lost weight, looks thinner.
Well, who
knows?
He can't play the game well anymore. I mean, I think he's proven that. He was given opportunities last year. and he really didn't do very
I
well.
think he won one game.
Well, that's well, let's put it this way: he got the new coach fired.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Those aren't good things. Just thought I brought it up because if 32 teams not looking at it.
Whatever, the minute that he just started disrespecting the American flag, and the way I look at it, the people that have fought and defended that flag, at that point he became irrelevant to me. I mean, anything he had to say was just white noise, because it's like, look, if you have something to say, stand up and say it, and do it the right way. You don't disrespect.
Well, how about have
country.
meetings or some solution to this instead of just pointing stuff out?
No.
We all can see what's out there. We're talking sports. Some of it combines politics and sports, and that's what you have at this, time and stage of our lives.
And you know what? And athletes, they should just play the game that they're getting paid to play.
Millions.
And I mean, I even feel the same way about Hollywood actors and actresses. I don't care about their political points of view.
You mean you don't live and die for who they're voting for?
No, I don't base my opinions on what anybody else thinks or says or does. I evaluate all the information that's available to me, and I come to a decision that I feel suits my needs. Just the same way everyone else should. Do I sit there and voice my opinions in any kind of format that I want to? No. I mean, do I have the right to? Yes, but what's the point?
Well, if you want to pick a fight, you can pick a fight.
You know what? I prefer to enjoy my life and, and the people that I have in it, So.
Well, we had some fun tonight. We got a couple minutes left. I want to thank all of you for watching our show. Thanks in the control room, Devin Shea, Angela, and Ethan, for making us look good. We appreciate that. We've covered a lot of sports. Hope you had some fun listening to us. Hopefully some of our opinions you agree with, and some of our facts you agree with, like Fleury's a wall. Glad they didn't trade him. Can't wait for tomorrow night's game with the Penguins.
No, and I'll tell you what, it was funny that people were saying that the only reason that Fleury played so well in the Game 7 was because Murray was there to back him up. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think, Marc-Andre Fleury knows that, this is...
He seems to thrive.
This is his last chance
that they have, and most likely he's going to be gone.
This is what a professional athlete practices from childhood until adulthood. Waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to the skating rink. This is why they have blood, sweat, and tears to be where he is right now. The starting goaltender on a team that has the inside run to the cup. And, I mean, you can't ask for anything better, and I'm just going to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, 7 more wins we need. That's all we need.
7 more. But just, you know what? So does Ottawa.
Well, that's all right. we will see what happens there. But, yeah, can't wait for the Buccos. Let's see what goes on with their team.
I'll be down at the ballpark tomorrow night. I'll be down at the ballpark Saturday. Got the Nationals in town. Watch a little Bryce Harper.
What bobblehead are you collecting now?
Oh, they have the Bob Walk falling off his chair.
I remember watching TV when that happened that night. So
that'll be Saturday against the Phillies, and we've got ball games Friday and Saturday of next week. So I'm going to get down to the ballpark and enjoy some Major League Baseball.
Chipper, bring home a couple winners and the bobblehead.
I'm 3-0 this year. Going to be 7-0 by the time they get to the end of the month.
Thanks for watching the show, and I always end it with "Stay Joey Strong."